What's going on, everyone? This is Adam and Craig with Grandstand Golf. In this show, we're talking our PGA DFS picks for the 2020 Masters. Craig, we're here. It's Monday. It's Masters week. It's November. What do you know about the course, Augusta National? How could it play a little bit different in November compared to April?
Well, we're getting some things trickling out as we get reports from media and from golfers and whatnot at the course.
Yeah.
I think one of the most telling ones was Rory McIlroy, if you don't know who I mean by Rory. Came out and
okay, got it.
So typically, from the sounds of it, the Bermuda grass dies. Or goes dormant over the winter, and then that they overseed in rye, and then you get that when it's almost exclusively rye, I think, in April. But essentially, the Bermuda is there's a little bit more to the Bermuda right now. So while they have overseeded it with rye, it's just there's a bit more of that present. Not on the greens. Greens are the same as always. But it sounds like it just might be a little bit more difficult for them around the greens, a little bit grainier almost.
Sure. Okay. And I mean, a couple of changes with it being in November. We have less daylight, so players will be going off on split tees Thursday, Friday, possibly starting on Amen's Corner, or at least one day starting on Amen's Corner, which will be interesting.
Well, they'll start on 10, so they won't quite get into Amen Corner, but...
Okay. And then a little bit change to the cut rule. So it used to be top 50 in ties, plus anyone that was within 10 of the strokes. Or 10 strokes of the lead, sorry. Now it's just top 50 in ties.
So it's going to be tight, but it's a small field.
It's a small field. I think we're at 94 now with Sergio out. So yeah, it's a small field, but you used to have a kind of a bigger buffer there for people to make the weekend. Not necessarily right now.
Yeah, I mean, from a DFS point of view, you still need to... It's weird because you've got enough of these guys who are not really competitive it's not necessarily like a normal cut event where you're getting less than half the field through. But it's also not a WGC or a no-cut event. And so you really do need to get guys through. But ultimately, that's not going to affect my decision-making. I'm still looking for guys that are going to finish high. I'm not looking, especially in,
completely agree.
I'm not playing cash games. I'm playing big tournaments. So I'm really looking for people that more have the high upside. The other thing, we'll get into the weather, but it does sound like it's going to be a little bit wet and sloppy. That is not necessarily a November thing. It's just that's the weather we're getting this week.
Yeah. I mean, kind of highs, mid high 70s. Rain could be really all 4 days. Could be just Thursday. We don't really quite know. Some sprinkles here, but yeah. It'll change closer up, but nothing really noteworthy, I don't think, right now.
And the other thing is Augusta National, if any course can handle rain, like they're going to be able to suck the moisture out of anywhere they want and then, inject some moisture back in when they need. They have more control over that golf course than anywhere else.
Okay.
I did see winds. Winds are going to be, it's early to project winds, but they're supposed to be out of the south, I want to say on Friday and potentially Sunday. And then out of the east on Saturday. But the east wind is interesting because that's the one where, on 13, it's going to push the ball around the corner. So it really does open that up. And then also on 15, you can, if people do decide to take it as far as they can down there, it'll just make it interesting.
Absolutely.
With some of the bigger hitters.
Okay, let's dive into our picks. So we're each picking three guys, our favorite kind of picks in PGA DFS. I'm starting pretty much at the top. Justin Thomas, 10,700 on DraftKings, 11,600 on FanDuel. He's second on DraftKings, fifth on FanDuel. I think it's actually kind of, you can play him kind of where he's cheaper, but I think it's also contrarian to play him where he's higher priced because on DraftKings, you'll have DJ below him, Rory below him, like pretty much every besides Bryson below him. So he might have lower ownership there. So I kind of like him a little bit better on DraftKings. Now, we know who Justin Thomas is. For the 2019-2020 season, in the field, he's the best stroke stealing tee to green. He's the best stroke stealing approach. He might just be the best approach player on the planet. That's one of the key stats we always look for at Augusta.
Now, when you say that, is there someone off the planet that you think could be better? Or
I don't know. Who knows? He doesn't quite have a top 10 at the Masters, but he's improved in every single trip that he's made. So last 3 years, 22nd, 17th, and 12th in 2019. And then looking at his recent form, so how he's been doing the last couple tournaments, top 12 or better in the last 4 tournaments. I mean, he was really close to kind of getting that win in Zozo. He didn't quite get it there, but he's been top 12 or better in the last 4.
Yeah, I mean, we spoke about JT a bit on the preview podcast because I think he was Kevin's pick to win.
Right.
And so if you do want a deeper dive into him, you can check that out. I think the same concerns that I brought up then are what I still have. It's just whether if he does get a little bit wild off the tee, that can really bite you here. But it's one of those things that he seems to have come up at times, but it's impossible to predict. And he can still play through it if he has a couple of loose swings around. So
absolutely. Oh, yeah. I think that is the concern about him not winning.
Yes.
But I don't have any concerns about him getting top 10, top 15.
Yeah. Agreed. My first one here, I'm looking at Jon Rahm, Big Spain. He is 10,500 on DraftKings. That's good for third. And he's 11,700 on FanDuel. That's good for fourth. He's interesting to me because I feel like if it wasn't for what Dustin Johnson and Bryson DeChambeau were doing, Jon Rahm would be having like an awesome last few months and would be really a topic going into the Masters. Everyone would be talking about like, oh, he's going to break through here, you know. He has a good Masters history. He only has 3 starts. You know, that first time there, he had the bit of it. You love that first time Masters. So he had the bump down to 27th, but he's been 4th and 9th since. So, you know, his game sets up well here. He's super hot right now. Last 9 starts, he's got 2 wins, 5 top 10s. If you go back a full 12 months from now, number 1 player in strokes gained total. So there's not a whole lot more you need to say, I think, to explain why he's a good play here. I think the one last thing, there's people who, you know, they're really strong in areas and then they kind of have to overcome other areas. He has everything. He's long off the tee. You know, I want to say he was top 5 strokes gained off the tee, you know, for the full season. But then he's good on approach. He's good around the green, and he's a good putter. So it's just, does it all come together for him this week? And I think there's a good chance that it does.
Yeah, I really like Rahm. I don't know how his ownership's going to shake out. I don't know how I'm going to fit him into lineups. I'm worried I'll be under-owned on him, and of anybody in the field. I mean, I might just leave Bryson. I might skip over a few of these guys up top, but I'm most worried about being under on Rahm because he is just so good right now. But I also like JT and I like DJ and I like these other guys around him. So it's going to be interesting.
Well, he came second recently to someone I think you'll be bringing up here. But I feel like if he would have won there at the Zozo, there would have been, and like, you know, that's a stroke over the course of 72 holes different. Like if he would have won there, the whole conversation going into this week would be different.
If he didn't have that one shank on 18, he would be in the winner's circle.
He just has to avoid the shanks. He'll be good.
Okay. Has all the tools. Zozo Championship. My next pick, Patrick Cantlay. DraftKings 9,600 on FanDuel 10,700. He's coming off that Zozo Championship win. Like he had Justin Thomas, Jon Rahm here to compete with there, so he beat the best in the world. A year and a half ago at the very last Masters, there was a moment where he was leading the Masters on Sunday. I mean, everyone is kind of collapsing, and he was just right there. He finished, I think, T9th. But I really like Cantlay right now as kind of just a step below that top tier, and kind of maybe as your second pick in a lot of these lineups. Looking at his complete game, you said Rahm has all the tools. Exact same thing with Cantlay. In his whole career, he's never finished worse than positive 1.1 in strokes gained tee to green for a season. Just a complete game off the tee, approach, and around the green. He has it all.
Yep, I totally agree. I think I'm going to be pretty tempted to, I'm definitely going to make lineups where I have the top guys, but I'm going to be pretty tempted to do some where I start right around here because I think, from Cantlay and maybe the next Maybe the next 10 guys. I'd have to look at the exact list to see who's there, but there's about 5 to 10 guys around there that I think are very attractive, that could they have enough win equity that if they win it and then your other ones there do well, then you can get a lot more value. You don't have to go as low to round out your lineup.
You can really have 6 guys that have a legit chance of winning.
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure. And so in that range, and this is one of the guys that I would definitely do if I was looking to pack that range. Webb Simpson, he's 9,300 on DraftKings, priced 11th. FanDuel, he's 10,800, priced 11th. It just seems to me like with all of these, younger, sexier players that have, whether for various reasons they've kind of flashed in the last little bit. I think we've kind of forgotten that Webb Simpson's a bit of a blue chipper, and he is pretty good every time he tees it up. 12 starts since the COVID break, 5 top 10s, 9 top 20s. So, every week it seems he is right there. He does have a win in that time too. So it's not like he's just middling, in the top of the field, middling along. He has closed it out. He doesn't have, so if you look back, I think 2012 was his first Masters start. He doesn't have a stellar first few years at Augusta, but then it really starts to, you can kind of see it get better and better and better in the last 3, 4, 5 years. And he was 5th last year. So he definitely has a game, I think, that works well here. When I was building our model, which you guys can all check out on the website, 2 of the most important stats here for players going into the tournament are strokes gain approach and putting. He's the only person in this field who's the top 10 in this field in both of those categories. So
interesting.
If you think that those 2 are the ones that you want to get in on, he's a good play. He's a good bet to do it.
And that's for the current season, or what's the time frame on those stats there?
Oh, so sorry, those are 2020. So the full 2019, 2020 season.
Okay. The full season.
Yeah.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, you kind of said it right at the top. He's not flashy or sexy or anything like that, but he just could sneak his way, all the way to a green jacket. It's absolutely in the realm of possibility.
Yeah. And I don't know, because of where he is, I think his ownership might get high, but then people want to play other people than Webb. He's not an exciting play. Rarely do people like, that gray beard that doesn't hit it super far and just kind of like seems to get it done. That's the guy I want.
Well, speaking of people that a lot of people will play, I think a lot of people will be on Tony Finau, and you know what? So am I. He's only 8,800 on DraftKings, 16th on FanDuel, 10,400. So he's really just above kind of that average salary on both sites, below guys like Webb Simpson. And Finau gets a lot of DraftKings points, and he's been playing well. So I think ownership will be there, but I'm there too. 2 starts of the Masters, pretty decent record. 2018 tie for 10th, 2019 tie for 5th. Looking at just kind of his recent form for the 2020-2021 season, he's 5th in strokes gained tee to green for the season. So already, if we're looking at his price at around 15th, he's playing about 5th with his ball striking. And then looking at how he's done recently after, the COVID-19 diagnosis, he's played in 2 tournaments since. Looking at those 2 tournaments, in actually every single strokes gained category from off the tee, approach, around the green, and putting, he's been positive. So 8 times he's been positive in those 2 tournaments.
Yeah. Sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, just playing really good, golf right now. And, we all expect a breakthrough at some point. So could be here.
Yeah, so as a fan, I really hope Finau does break through here. The one thing that I find is that it seems like, and maybe I play him quite a bit because I think he's oftentimes has value and he does get so many DraftKings points. And I think I'm going to have him in my player pool this week because he just shows so much value here. Yeah. It's just like, it feels like he's a bit of a heartbreaker. Like he'll be in contention in a tournament, and like that's the emotional play, like it just feels like, man, like you could have won me that week, and instead it like you still did well, but like it just was so close to being great. And it kind of feels like that's the story of Tony Finau, but you feel he has to break through here pretty soon and get whether at 8,800 you don't need him to win. He's got a chance to win,
exactly.
but if he comes top 5, you're looking good as long as you still have the winner.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so my last one here, I've got Louis Oosthuizen. He comes in at 7,900, 25th most expensive, and he's also 25th on FanDuel, 9,600. So just under the average price. So this is kind of one of those ones that I think I would put him he should be about average, and so I just really like this value.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's one of these guys that you kind of forget he's out there until it's time for big tournaments, and then you're like, oh yeah, man, he's always on the leaderboard in majors.
Yeah.
He does have a major win. He's a 4-time runner-up, including at Augusta, where he was in a playoff and lost to, I believe it was to Bubba. In the year, I think it might have been the year that he came out of the trees there.
Right.
But yeah, anyways, really good form. I mean, the thing that I love actually about his form is that it's not so good that it becomes, I definitely want to put him in my lineup here.
Yeah.
But it's good enough that I don't have any questions about his game not being in a good place.
Yeah.
Last 7 starts, 6 of them are tied for 33rd or better, 4 top 20, 2 top 10s. And I think that includes he was 3rd at the US Open. So, if you do look closer at his plays too, he does well in tournaments with the top guys there. And that's one of the things you want to look at. There's some guys that will do really good at the Wyndham and the lesser tournaments, but then when everyone's there, they really start to fall down leaderboards. Oosthuizen almost seems like the opposite.
I know.
Actually, his other top 10, I want to say, besides the U.S. Open, was at the WGC. So it's just I don't understand why you're not doing it every week if you can do it when the best guys are there. But yeah, he's got all the tools, and then when he is in form, he can be an elite ball striker. So, very, very
just
high
smooth,
upside.
pretty swing. Yeah.
Maybe not as good of a floor as the other guys we've talked about, just because they're more expensive and they're a little bit more of blue chip picks. But I think that he has a ton of upside.
But Usti is a veteran. I mean, I think his floor is still there just with his experience and with his swing. I mean, I feel like that's a floor in itself. The only really concern I feel like with Oosthuizen is a hurt back or a withdrawal or something like that. I mean, that's when he would really gut you in DFS.
Yeah. And maybe in terms of floor, it's more just I don't think he has kind of the current pedigree that our other guys do. They're considered top players in the world, whereas he's kind of at the this guy's good, we know at times, but he's not there every week.
Yeah, for sure. Quickly recapping, so I got JT 10,700, Patrick Cantlay 9,600, and Tony Finau 8,800.
And I've got Rahm at 10,500, Webb Simpson at 9,300, and Louis Oosthuizen at 7,900.
I like it. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Make sure to subscribe to our channel. It really does mean a lot to us. We did a Masters first look video last week. We had some different picks there. We wanted different picks for this video, so check that out as well.
Still like those guys a lot too. So those are guys that are still going to be in my player pool.
Still really like those guys. And then we had our Masters preview podcast also up on our YouTube channel or wherever you get podcasts. So check that out as well, where we go in depth into all our picks, sleepers, fades, that kind of thing.
And we've got a sleepers video coming.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Take care.
Good luck, guys. See you next time.